unless I was in career management. Career management's important because they post it. But people policy is really interesting cultural bias in the organisation and lack of understanding about how you build armies, navies and air forces. So you need people, you need systems. The reason I built this model was the third part of that. When I say people about why the numbers you need, what you need to attract them, what you need to pay them to look after them and care for them. So that's in the people box. The systems box is how you administer them and manage them. So PM keys, your pay systems, all those things around e-health that we have with Jedi, all those things about how you manage and look after people. So now you've recruited your workforce, you've got them in, you're paying them, you're administering them, that's fine. But the key is to skill them. Because people without skills are nothing. And people with just enough skills still are nothing. They are not war fighters and winners. You need people with highly developed skills. But no one was actually skilling the ADF. No one is responsible for skilling the defence workforce. It's subcontracted out to about 47 different people. So that model speaks to what people capability is. So the big gap is skills. Who does the skilling piece at the strategic level in defence? Now, what are some of the skilling themes? And when I say skilling, I get in trouble with the educators, particularly the high-level educators. In my command, I've got high level right down to training. Training is blue collar. Education, higher education is white collar and clever. So everyone wants to gravitate up the higher education people. I use skilling as a bumper sticker, which is really about how do you deliver a workforce with the requisite skills that it requires to do its job. Skilling is about education, about training, it's about development, it's about all those people things. So when I say skilling, I don't mean just training and vocation. The things you need to pick up on the bumper stickers are you train for certainty, you educate for uncertainty. Skilling is about all of those things. But some of the things coming up is ubiquity of information, plenty of it out there. Ubiquity of access. I bought my first iPad on Friday. It is a hoot. I've had more fun than I can make a stick out. With all the information under the sun available to me without going anywhere. It's just great. And we need to move from institution-centric to learner-centric. We have a very institution-centric model of learning. And we have a very formal model of learning. This is actually informal learning, not formal learning. And that's really what I'm going to talk about. The key responses are to talk about a learner-centric strategy and a defence skilling model. I'll just focus on the learner-centric bit, which says, currently we're institution-centric. We're schoolhouse focused. So we privilege you by enrolment. So when we want you to have some knowledge, we enrol you into one of our courses, you come to a schoolhouse, we push information to you, and then you go away qualified. That was okay in my day, but not yet. We need to move, and that's a very, what I'm calling, institution-centric, schoolhouse-centric model. We need to move to a model where we have that, but we also have a much more learner-centric model, where we have a lot more informal learning. What I learn on Google, if you sit around with anybody and say, how do you do this? Someone will tap into a laptop or an iPad or something. I'll Google it, I'll YouTube it, and I'll say, this is how you do it. And they learn in the workplace. They've got knowledge available to them in the workplace, all over the place, anywhere, whether it's a social activity or a formal activity. So there is a lot more informal learning occurring out there. And we need to shift our model of learning from schoolhouse institution-centric learning, where we'll still have some of that, but we need to shift it to a learner-centric model, where you learn wherever you need to learn, however you need to learn, with whoever you need to learn, on whatever device you need to learn, or you want to learn. And it's lifelong and it's continuous. Future's about doing all of these things. You'll still have to go to the schoolhouse where we'll give you your learning, we'll give you the stuff we want you to know, but when you're not in the schoolhouse, we still expect you to learn. And you'll be learning, you'll be pulling stuff off the net, off websites, off data. This digital native generation is pulling information from everywhere, and they're getting smarter than their commanders. And in a sense, we're going to have to move our model of command away from command being the most knowledgeable person on the battlefield, command being privileged by all the knowledge, to the commander actually just making decisions and the knowledge is everywhere. That's going to change the way we think, and also the way we teach, and also the way we generate our knowledge, and also the way we structure our knowledge and make it available to people. Currently, at the Staff College or at the High Defence College, we will give you information if we're privileged by enrolment. But if you're sitting over there as a sub in a battalion or a regiment and you want some of that information, you can't get it. Because it's not structured to be doing it to you because you're not supposed to need it. Well, let's not decide what you need, then you decide what knowledge you need, what information you need, and get into this much more informed space. And to do that, this is what we need to do. We need to get much better at specifying the knowledge we need, partnering with those who are going to tell us what we need to know. So the group heads, the service chiefs, all those sorts of people, universities, Specify is probably one of the most important parts to understand. We can teach you anything, but we've only got enough time to teach you a certain amount, so let's make sure we get that right. We've got to generate the knowledge, so we need to create it in new and innovative ways and structure knowledge. Not structure knowledge just for those people who are on the course, but structure knowledge for anybody who might want it that we have in our organisation. We get greater knowledge and productivity out of that, where you can draw the information. You can go and get the syllabus for a high defence course or a staff college course. If you need that bit of information, you can have it and you can learn. And you can spin yourself up and become much faster and much more important. And we need to distribute it in much different ways. Currently we have a single mode of distribution. If you think about knowledge like a logistician, you wouldn't have a single mode of distribution for a logistician. You would have multiple modes to get it out to as many stakeholders, as many customers, through as many modes as you can to build redundancy and to satisfy a whole range of different demands for knowledge. So we need to do that. So move from a single mode of distribution of knowledge to multiple modes. And then we need to evaluate so that we know that the specification of knowledge becomes a learning outcome. So it becomes knowledge that we create. It becomes something that people learn. That learning becomes capability, and the capability becomes success in operations. We need to follow that cycle all the way through, because learning in and of itself means nothing. Plotinus said, knowledge, if it does not inform action, is dead to us. So you can be as smart as you like about a whole range of things, but if it doesn't inform decision-making, advice to government, and tactical and operational outcomes, then knowledge is useless. So we need to pick up on our understanding of ensuring that what we're asking people to learn is being learnt, and that learning is turning into capability, and that capability is turning into operational success. Now, I'll finish by saying the success of Force 2030 is not about the equipment. The success of Force 2030 is about the people. We need smart people who can operate sophisticated systems, who have the intellect, character and resilience so this will win battle. Our education and training system is aiming and changing to deliver that. The message I want you to take away is that it's about the people, it's how smart they are, it's about how they learn, it's about how they get their information, it's about how they draw it, how they pull it or we push it, and how we communicate and how successful they become. Here ends the lesson. I'm happy to take any questions.